Hey guys, welcome to this video. So in this video we are going to see how we can restore a lost control file in case we mistakenly remove the control files from the Oracle database. So generally control file stores the structure of the database like DB ID, database name, the location of the data files, location of the real log files, right? Also the backup information. So if one control file is lost, then we can survive with the other control file. We can just copy it to the lost control file location, and then we can reboot the database without any issues. Anyway, we need a downtime. So when all of the control files are lost, right? So here you can just put some mark. Okay, so here I have auto backup exist, so I will put 1 mark. Data files real log file exist, so I will put another mark, 2 marks. So all control files are deleted. So here I will reduce 1 mark, -1, and database is either shut down or it is startup. Irrespective of whether the database is running or not, the control files, if control files are removed, then obviously we need to do the restore. Okay, so sometimes we may get negative marks. So even if the auto backup does not exist, so I'm just giving you some grades, that's all, to evaluate how the recovery situation will be, right? So if we are in minus, then it will be very difficult. If we don't have any backups, and if the data files and real log files are also corrupted, you will be having -2 negative marks, right? So let us just first focus on one of the scenario. We will be removing the control files, and then we will be restoring it from the backup. Okay, so in real-time database, what happens is the control file backups would be automatically taken either via third-party vendor tool or cron jobs or shell scripts. But here we are just going to simulate the situation, so I'm just going to take control file backup manually before the simulation. So I'll just say backup current control file. So I'm just taking the recent control file backup. Okay, but in a real-time production system, in case you need to restore the control file, you may need to list backup of control file. This is the command. Okay, list backup of control file. So this will give you all the control file backups which were taken earlier. So from this you can take the recent control file. Okay, so here the steps are pretty simple. So I have not I'm not completely prepared for this activity. Okay, I'm completely blank now. I'm just going to restore the database irrespective of whatever issue happen. I'm just going to bring up the database. Okay, so just imagine that this is not a production system, and we are going to remove the control files and we are going to restore. So I am just giving the high level steps. Okay, so these steps may or may not work, but in general these are the steps to restore. Unless until we have a clear or cleaner archive logs and the cleaner backups, then we are good for the restore. But here I don't have any archives. Okay, so I just delete all the archives from the FRA because of space constraints. So I don't have any clearer archives to recover the database to a point in time, but I need to somehow bring up the database, okay, without any prior steps. So I'm just going to remove the control file first. Okay, show parameter control. So these are the control file location. Okay, so I already taken the backup, so I'm not concerned about these files. So just imagine these files are mistakenly removed. Okay, so now if I execute any select queries on the $v database, I will get some error. Aura 202 Aura 210 error. Okay, so this error is expected. So we will not be able to do any changes on the database unless until we restore the control file. Okay, so but still, as part of the SP file or P file, these locations will be recorded. So Oracle database will go and search these locations, but physically these files are not present. Obviously, checkpoint process will periodically update and make sure that the SENs are in sync with the data file, right? So control file header and data file header should be in sync, right? So if control file itself is not there, then how Oracle database will check the synchronization between the control file and the data file? So it is not possible. But in a real-time production system, obviously a lot of transactions would be happening. So obviously the data file information will be further progressing, but control file itself is not there. Then obviously we need point in time recovery. We need to reset the logs, right? Lot of things are there. So now what I will do is I will just shut down Abort. Okay, we have no other way. We just need to restore it from the backup because we lost both of the multiplex control files, right? So just start up the database in no mount state. Okay, so we already have this step. Okay, first start up the database in no mount, restore control file from auto backup. So Oracle database will not be able to mount the database because control file is not there. So Oracle database will read the control file, know about all the DBA database information and the location of the database. Then only it will mount the database, right? So if I just say alter database mount, then it will throw 205 error or a 205. So this is also expected, right? I cannot mount the database. So now I need to go to Arman, just restore the control file from auto backup, just check the backup list, backup of control file. Okay, so since the database is not mounted, control file information, backup information is not there. So even though it is saying using target control file instead of recovery catalog, but I don't have the target control file itself. So what I will do is restore control file from auto backup. So these metadata will be stored. Okay, so even though I don't have the control file, but still this metadata will be stored in the Arman. Okay, so Arman will somehow get all these backup information. So these backup information will be already registered with the Arman. Okay, so Arman will be able to restore the control file from the auto backup. Okay, so now I restored the control file. Now I'm good to mount the database. Okay, so now I mounted the database. Now what I will do, I will open the database. Okay, yeah, I need to reset the logs while opening the database. So always whenever the control files are, both of the control files are lost, obviously lot of inconsistency happens, right? So I need to reset the logs while opening the database. But it says file 1 needs more recovery to be consistent. Data file 1, system database, system DBF. So I cannot open the database in reset log mode. Okay, because it needs more archive logs, but I already mentioned that I don't have archive logs. So this is a known case. So even though I don't have archive logs, but I will still try whatever options that I can do. It says recovery using backup control file. recovery session cancelled, data file 1 belongs to an orphan incarnation, data file okay, so I'm getting some incarnation issue, okay, because my control file is already beyond or behind the data files, right? So obviously the control file is taken from an earlier older incarnation. So what is an incarnation? It is kind of a person who dies, right? So when he dies, then again he will rebirth, take the rebirth and take another incarnation from the previous life. Okay, that is kind of memories taken from one incarnation to another. So similarly, when the control file dies, right, when the control file is lost, Oracle will consider that as a death. Okay, so once we again restore the control file, Oracle will mark it as a new incarnation. So there will be parent incarnation and multiple incarnations will be created based on the control file lost. So list incarnation of database. So here if you see, I don't have any of these steps. Okay, so these are unexpected, but generally the database should open if we have the cleaner archive logs and everything, but we don't have the archive logs. That is the problem. So here if you see, there are already 2 orphan incarnations. Okay, but now I need to somehow bring the database up. Okay, imagine that this is not a production database, but I will just show you some ways to open the database. So I will just so we have some hidden parameters, okay, just for your knowledge, but never ever use it on a real-time system. Okay, just for your understanding, I am just giving you this for learning purpose. So there is a parameter called allow reset logs corruption. Okay, so now I don't have my archive logs in place. Already the incarnation also, there is some mess. Okay, so the only option that I have now currently to bring up the database with data loss. Okay, so currently there is a data loss because I don't have any of the archives, but my goal is to bring the database up. Okay, so how we can do that? Allow reset log corruptions. Okay, so this is the parameter that we can use. So by default the value of this parameter will be false. Okay, so in case, right, so generally whenever we are taking a cold backup of the database, right, so we don't need any reset logs, but whenever whenever we are cloning a database from a cold backup, right, we don't need reset logs, but whenever we are cloning a database from a hot backup database, then we need a reset log, because when we take the backup from a hot backup database, the archive logs will be generated, the database will be live. So while the database is live, I am taking the backup, but for cold backup I will shut down the database and then mount the database and then take the backup. So archive logs will not, newer archive logs will not be generated, right? So say for example, in a cold backup my SEN is 123. Okay, so now I am bringing the database, shutting down the database first and mounting the database, then I take the backup. So my SEN number will be till 123, it will be clear. Okay, no archive logs generated further. Okay, but in a hard database, what happens is, when we are taking backup from a database when it is up and running. Okay, so the same situation, 123 is the SEN. So now I'm not going to shut down the database. Okay, database is in open mode, I'm just taking the backup. now imagine archive logs are generating it since the database is already open, right? So from 1 to 3 it became 1 2 3 4 5 6. The SEN has been changed. So now imagine we already taken the backup at 1 2 3, but during the backup almost the control file has been updated with the updated archive, the updated SEN, and also more archive logs were generated. So that is the issue with the hard backups. So when I use this particular hard backup to create a new database, it will the new database will ask for more archive logs to be consistent, right? So these archive log information will be applied to the data files. But since the control file and the data file are not consistent, obviously, unless until we use any recovery option, right? Like I did recover database, like recover database using until cancel, recover database using backup control file. So what our database will try to do is it will try to update the data file with the recent SEN. But if it is not able to do, then we will end up with the issues. We need to obviously, during the hard backup, we need to reset the logs when we are opening. But during the cold backup, we don't need to reset the logs because newer archives will not be generated. If it is 1 2 3, then when we are creating a new database, the SEN should be 1 2 3. So why am I explaining this? Because the current situation is when control file is lost, obviously the SEN numbers would be incremented. So obviously there will be some inconsistencies. So we need to open the database with reset logs, but we don't have any archives. That is another problem, right? So the only option is to, if I don't have any archive log backup, we don't have any other option unless until we are okay with the corruption, right? So now what this parameter does is it will allow any corruption. Okay, even though my database is not consistent, it will help us in bypassing the errors like these errors. Okay, file 1 needs more recovery, data file 1. These ORA errors will be bypassed when I set this parameter, but there will be data loss. Okay, so if I am okay with the data loss, then I am fine to proceed with it. Okay, now I will just shut down the database, start up the database in mount state. Now I will try to open the database with reset logs. Okay, so now Oracle, irrespective of whether the database is consistent or not, it will somehow manage internally and try to open the database. Okay, but it will take a lot of time compared to normal open reset logs, because now Oracle is trying to internally figure out how it can open the database by bypassing all these recovery mode, right? But yeah, it is not 100% recommended to use it on any of the production systems or any other systems. Okay, just for your learning purpose. So if it is a lower environment like POC or a test database where the application team or the front-end team are not bothered about anything, then you can use this parameter just to bring up the database. Okay, so now okay, so the moment when I open the database with reset logs by enabling this parameter, I end up with some other error. So it is redirecting to some other issue. Okay, so now if you see, our goal was to restore the control file, right? Our goal was to remove the control file, then restore the control file and make sure that we bring up the database. But if you see, when I use these steps, right? So these steps will be success whenever we are having all the archive logs and all the correct backups in place. But I don't have any backups, so I tried to open the database, but it was throwing this error because more recovery is needed for the data file to be consistent, right? And I also tried recovering the database, but I could not recover it, right, because of the incarnations. So after that, I tried to bypass the recovery, the media recovery, but still, yeah, it is pointing us to some other issue. It is pointing us to some internal errors. Okay, so obviously when any Ora 600 errors happen, okay, I'm just helping you in learning and understanding this. Okay, so let us just see the alert log. So if you see in the alert log, it has thrown this error, okay, and also it has created some incident file. Okay, so if I go inside this incident file, okay, so incident file is similar to a trace file, which give us more information about the error, okay, or the internal errors. Okay, so internal errors are something which are related to the kernel. Okay, but still we can further troubleshoot and understand what the issue is. Okay, so the function name is starting with kcb, zib, kcrsds. So each and every function will be having some meaningful information. Okay, so this is the call stack. So I'm just going through this call stack to understand what exactly is happening. So I'm just trying to grep with some error. Okay, what if I'm able to find anything. So I'm just further digging down to understand more about this error, okay, on this dump. Okay, so it is a pretty big set of dump having all the memory information. So as I already mentioned, the goal of this session is to restore the control file, but yeah, it if you see, the actual issue is pointing to something else. So it's almost very big trace file. Okay, so I'm just trying to find some useful information. If you see, yeah, it's obviously reading almost 90,000 lines of trace file. It's not that easy. Okay, so what I would do is, so I have all these functions handy. So if you see, this is a failing function. Okay, and again, the whatever function which are related to that is pointing to fail logical block check. Okay, so this has to be something related to some corrupted block. Okay, so when we are trying to use the allow reset lock corruption, it is has corrupted something. Okay, but still we need to find out why this is happening, right? So it is pointing to some redo. Okay, non-contiguous multi-block callback, and if you see, BR generating BRR redo bad object. It is pointing to undo, pointing to index. So we can try to get some hint from this. Okay, so what was the error that we got? Fatal error KCB ZIB KCRS DS. Okay, let us try to, we'll not be able to switch the log file, okay, because database is not open. Okay, so the Oracle function details was giving us something related to redo, but when you try to switch the log file, it is saying I mean, we are already in mount state, so there we cannot control the redo. Okay, so we can focus on checking the undos. But we will not be able to query any $v data file information, right? Okay, so in mount state we are able to query. Yeah, we will not be able to query any DBA views. We can query few of the $v views from mount state. So I think I can still do something with the undo. Okay, so what I will do is I will just so let me just shut down the database. Start up the database in mount state. So meanwhile, parallelly, I will also check the trace files, okay, instead of the incident files, because incident files are very big. So now I will try alter database, open reset logs. Okay, only valid after incomplete database recovery. So let me just go to the trace file directory. Okay, so if you see, the database got opened somehow. Okay, so if you go to the trace file, right, so you will get some information related to the error. Okay, so I think the issue is related to undo. Okay, why? Because so we already checked the function. Okay, so I already have all the function information in a file. So in that we can understand, based on the function information, we can understand where exactly that error is pointing to. Okay, and then we can manually tweak certain parameters and try bringing up the database. So generally I learn by doing all these stuffs. Okay, so that's how I'm able to easily identify what exactly the error was without any archive logs or anything. Okay, but though I have not saved the database is not consistent currently, but yeah, I'm able to bring up the database successfully. Okay, so now our goal is to again make it false. We should not use this parameter unless until it is needed. Okay, again set it to false and then restart the database. So now I have manually changed the undo management to manual, but this cannot be permanent, right? So again we need to change the undo management to auto as well, right? So let it come up successfully without any issues. So then we can again manually modify the undo management. So immediately I will just modify this and again reboot the database. Okay, so now the database is opened. Okay, so previously it was unable to open, so we need to reset the logs, but when I change the undo management to manual, now it is opening. So I think there should be some issue or corruption with the management of undo. Okay, so again now let me just startup force. So I hope the database would be opened with automatic undo management. We will not be getting any errors, I believe. Yeah, so the database is opened without any issues with automatic undo management. So now we are able to successfully bring up the database. Okay, so the moment when we bring the database clean, right, without any issues, just take an immediate backup. Okay, So this video is specifically for learning purpose. Okay, so you should not be trying it on any critical systems. Okay, so moreover you should raise a case with the Oracle support and check for any potential bugs or any other issues with the specific component. Okay, so yeah, hope this session is useful. Okay, so just hit a like and subscribe if you like this video, and if you want more interesting videos like this where you'll be learning all the hidden layers and the secrets, right? So you can just subscribe and make a comment on any other videos that you require. Okay, so thanks for watching. So now we brought the database up irrespective of whether the data is consistent or not, and also we taken a backup. Okay, so here our learning is how to reset the logs without the media recovery checks, right? So we can bypass this. There is one option, and the another way is to even if we are further getting any errors, right, any internal errors, you need to go and check the function. So you need to understand what that function is, and just correlate with whatever descriptions or whatever that function is related to, and do some changes based on that, right? So if that function is related to read log file, so I tried to switch the log file. Okay, but it did not work because the database was in mount state. So, right, so the issue is not something related to read log. So I tried to change the undo, right? So here the only parameter that I can control is the undo management, right? Rest of them are just a threshold, right? So I cannot create an undo table space when I am in mount stage again. So I tried manually modifying it. So these were the learnings, right? So immediately I was able to bring up the database. So here the actual issue is something related to the undo. Okay, so there is some corruption, so that's the reason it is not able to database was not able to come up. So we can just check from $v database corruption view. So yeah, you can check the corruption like this. So further I'm just extending this video for just for your information. Okay, so there is one specific view. Okay, so to check the corruption, it is $v block database block corruption. Okay, so we don't find anything, any corruptions related to the $v database block corruption. Okay, but yeah, we need to further drill down and dig more information by tracing the information related to undo and where exactly which object that is preventing us to preventing us from starting the database with reset logs, right? So yeah, further we need to go in this direction. Okay, I hope